me up with it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I got hit up as well by a couple of people, but you know what? I haven't done enough DD on Unity, and I don't have the time while I'm on the cruise right now. So I'm gonna when I
Well, I
get
mean,
back
we
this
could talk a
weekend.
little bit. I could talk a little bit about it.
Let's get right into it. First topic. Carlos just texted he's gonna be a little late today, everybody. So Vitaly, what's going on with Unity? I'll get an article about it, but what's the situation?
Okay, so look, I didn't do enough DD to know everything, but I do know they're raising prices for certain tiers. So developers have to pay Unity a certain right to use the software at a certain amount of income that you make. You pay Unity, right? So now they're apparently once again, I didn't do everything yet, but they're raising the costs where at certain levels you will have to start paying like a fee of down anytime someone downloads it on their your app basically to use your like any developer who gets their app downloaded, they'll have to pay for that privilege. But these are bigger developers. I don't know exactly the tiers. Do you have the tiers in front of you?
Yeah, look at the screen. I'm sharing it right now. Should be there.
So take a look, Unity Personal and Unity Plus. Okay.
If you've made more than 200 grand and have at least 200 grand lifetime installs, so 200 grand of revenue and 200 grand installs, and then $1 million or $1 million of lifetime. So essentially they're saying, look, if your app gets XYZ many downloads, regardless of if it makes more money than our thresholds, you have to pay us.
Well, no, and they have to have $1 million, right? It also says
$1 million
that.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, I still have to go through this, like I said, but people are hitting me up. My brother even said like he's not bullish on Unity at all. He's bullish on Unreal. But
well,
look,
the news really fucked the stock today. I mean, that's the down 5%. That was pretty bad.
Not too bad, honestly. In this market, that's not that bad.
That's true. That's true.
So
it's still up for the month. So
it's still up since we started talking about it, even. So Unity has been holding on. But okay, so let's say this is true and this is not great for all developers. Let's just assume that this is the case. The simple fact is, all of these companies will do similar things. So to think that Unreal will not do something similar, especially when it comes out into the market and it has to show ROIC for investors, is kind of crazy. Obviously, Unity, I am not sure if they're doing the right thing here because I didn't do enough research, but let's put it this way. Unreal right now, which I'm a believer in both, by the way. I think as soon as the other one hits the markets, I have to have both because it's a duopoly. There's only two companies you use to make these like VR experiences in games, right? But so let's say this is true. Let's talk about iOS and Android for a second. Do you know that Fortnite is blocked from both stores? Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
So Epic Games makes Unreal Engine, and they have such a bad relationship with both Google and Apple, like the gatekeepers. So that's not great. So, and when Apple came out and said, who are we partnering with? They're partnering with Unity for the Vision Pro. Even if I don't think the Vision Pro is a super success, eventually Apple will make something like that a success, and their partner is Unity. So there's a lot of great tailwinds, even though this sounds like a headwind for Unity right now with this developer conflict going on. I think this will blow over. I still haven't done all the research, but these kinds of things eventually end up blowing over because like you have two players. Unfortunately, you have to know both at the end of the day. You know, AAA titles are done with Unreal and smaller iOS apps and Android apps are done with Unity for the most part. It's like 70%. It's not even a little bit. It's the majority of them. So I don't think Unity is going anywhere, but is it going to shit the brick for the next couple of months? Yeah, that's very possible.
KRIS, any thoughts on if people should be scared as if they're bullish on the Vision Pro that developers will revolt against Unity, which means the Vision Pro won't have a developer app store?
I'm not sure right now. Like I said, I haven't done DD, but I'm looking at the numbers because I think that's always the crux of how we should invest, right? Like, are the numbers trending in the right direction? And it looks like, yeah, for Unity, they look like they're trending in a very good direction, actually. Like, let me just pull it up real quick.
And now they're going to be gouging. So, I mean, this is what companies do.
Why do you think they're doing this? You think they're just trying to squeeze money? You think they want to do this before they get bigger?
Well, you know what's going on right now. Everybody has to get to profitability as fast as possible. So I don't know if it's the right move to gouge especially indie developers, because like, I know they said 200,000 installs and that becomes bigger than just indie, but still there's a lot of indie developers, small teams that get those kinds of numbers, and they don't want to be paying more money right now. So I understand their point, but to say that they have a choice, that's what I'm wondering on. It's like, do they actually have a choice to just leave and go to Unreal? I guess they can do that, but that makes their lives harder. I mean, are they going to change all their code bases over? Like, this becomes very difficult. It's not just easy to say, oh, I'm leaving. It's not that simple, especially when you develop all of the all of your tools, all of your assets, and you use it, the coding is C#, it's not C++. So there's a lot of things that are happening in Unity. The other thing I want to point out, which a lot of people forget, Unity is like almost its own platform. It's a super app. They have advertising, they have asset store, they have their own AI thing that they're working on in the background. Unreal doesn't have all of that. Like they're building a lot of it, don't get me wrong, but they don't have like the AI background, the cloud infrastructure that they're building. They're not trying to push as hard into certain aspects. So once again, like I don't think that this is going to be a long-lasting thing. I think Unity is just fine, but in the interim, there's going to be some hits.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the numbers, and like I said, there's a compelling story here. They've been growing their revenues pretty significantly over the last few years. I mean, now they've re-accelerated their revenue growth. Their gross profit is growing. Operating income wise, they're still in the negative, but these are the kinds of things that typically happen. The operating income is kind of stabilizing a little bit here. Pre-tax income, net income is still low. I mean, how much cash do they have on the balance sheet? That's like, they've got a good amount of cash on the balance sheet. Yeah, I'll deep dive into this to see what's actually going on with like the numbers and how they're structuring their thing. Because the biggest I would say draw like what's the word, like negative to investing in companies like this is typically around their financials. Like, do they have enough runway where they can survive? And you can see here, cash from operating activities, they're about 75 million. So I mean, they have a pretty good amount of runway based on the balance sheet that I'm seeing. So it's still, I think this is still a spec play to be 100% honest. But if they have monetization down and they can actually extract value from their developers and they could do it in a profitable way, then yeah, why not? It could be a good one. Yeah,
I agree with you, Chris. But a spec play, yes, but it's one of the safer spec plays. And the reason I say that is because let's just go back. There's two players. Okay, if you're going to be developing and spending your time on anything, you're going to use either Unity or Unreal. That's it. Okay, so you have a choice there. It's not like you're going to number 4 bank or number 10 bank and figuring that out to discussing like something like SoFi. There's two players. You got to pick one. And the one I picked right now, because it's in the public markets, is Unity. And the reason is the ecosystem. Once again, I've actually built some apps in Unity. They have the asset store that's built in. They have AI that's coming in terms of using, like, imagine NPCs that actually can articulate and talk to you. That's going to be part of this infrastructure. So as they add more services into Unity, the 20 cents or whatever they're charging more per install, will that matter over the long term? It might not matter. So, but in the interim, while they don't have all these tools fully developed and not coherent enough, it might matter, right? But I don't see anyone stealing their market share in such a short amount of time. And I think Unity would change on a dime if enough people revolted against it. So I know you're talking about the financials and it's great, but just the thesis, the fundamental thesis is that there is nobody else to go to besides Unity and Unreal. It's two players.
Yeah, and I think if you're bullish Apple Vision Pro, and I was hearing a lot of stuff today about in 2025, the developers are actually going to start building the App Store for them. It's going to take a couple of years, but when that explodes, if their official partner is Unity, and a lot of those games are powered by Unity, I mean, like if you're bullish Vision Pro, you should be theoretically bullish for the future of Unity as well.
Also, Meta, by the way, Meta, you can do both, but most people actually develop on Unity as well, and they do have a partnership as well. So there you go. Like, Unity's not going anywhere. Once again, temporary hits. Is it going to $30? I have no idea. Maybe it's going back to $30 or 25. I have no idea. But in my opinion, I'm still looking to DCA Unity, unless I do more due diligence and I find out something totally atrocious. But from everything I've seen just around this, it seems like more people like have their favorites. People who like Unreal say Unity sucks. People who like Unity say Unreal sucks. But honestly, you should just have both. As soon as Unreal hits the market, put it in your portfolio too.
And your average is like 25-ish, 27?
It's around 29.
29? Okay.